Thanks for staying with us. Let's take you back to one of our top stories. That's in Akwa Ibom State, where operatives of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps rescued a 12-year-old girl who was locked up for 2 years and subjected to inhumane treatment by her father and a stepmother. To help us understand this, let's speak with a gender and human rights advocate, Anita Bassett. It's good to have you join us on TVC News at 4.
Pleasure. Good to be with you this afternoon.
Help us understand what legal provisions really are. Did these parents violate when you take a look at this case, and what charges they face?
Well, thank you so much. In Akwa Ibom State, by 2020, through the instrumentality of the former House of Assembly, the Violence Against Person Prohibition Act was domesticated in Akwa Ibom State. And so we have the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law in Akwa Ibom State, which criminalizes a great deal of the practices that have been going on here, particularly the one that we are discussing. Unfortunately, while we are engaging in elaborate information giving and emancipating these victims, a lot of people are still unaware that their actions are criminal in nature. The story from Ibiono is Sunday. It is true that she had been subjected to the inhuman treatment by her stepmother and her father for as long as beyond 2 years plus. And then she's been hardly fed and not even allowed to have a bath as it went due, not even allowed the privilege of being to school. Unfortunately, there are machineries in force and in place to ensure that this is taken charge of, away from the fact that it is the NSCDC that arrested them. In Akwa Ibom State, we have a platform for which I am a male advocate. The state government is taking drastic measures on parents who are undermining the privileges and rights of their children. And so this one will not be an exception. In the law, Akwa Ibom State gender-based violence against person prohibition law, particularly that law prohibits subjecting any person either to sexual or otherwise to engage in an activity that undermines a person's right as a human being. And so away from that, it's a criminal act in nature. And I know as of now that away from the fact that NSCDC will take charge, our courts are more educated now and very proactive to ensure that parents who are engaging in this kind of actions are given their due in law. And so it's a great revelation that she has been rescued, and such and others are going on, because in this climate, I must say it's been difficult for government to just change in a moment the perception of people about witchcraft. A lot of children are on the street, which the state government is endeavoring a day in, day out through the Committee on Gender-Based Violence to ensure that we take these children away from the street. There has been an institution created to ensure that they are taken care of. So we are not shocked that this is going on, but we are sure and certain that with time, this will be a real occurrence.
Yeah, but putting into perspective, of course, the cultural and societal factors, just like you alluded to, as a country, how well do you think we're faring in advocating and upholding the rights of the Nigerian child?
Yes, it's a progressive activity or action, I may put it. Unfortunately, our cultural practices were quite limiting and discriminating, especially to the girl's child. And so in the last 4 years in Akwa Ibom State, in the month of June, throughout the entire month of June, from 1st day of June to 30th day of June, we were on advocacy. We've been to churches, we've been to Market Square, we've been to council, we've been to community halls to engage people, to educate them on the rights of the children as well as rights of spouses, because our cultural inclinations were rather in support of domestic violence and the limitations that inhibit the progress of especially the girls and the women. So I can say that there's been a leap in progress, and it is my vehement hope that in less than no time we'll record a greater height of achievement in this angle, because some persons, for instance, I went to my church and preached about domestic violence and educated the people that it is now a criminal offense. Shockingly, a lot of people came to me and said, when did this come to be? So there's a lot of work to be done to take these laws and the provisions of these laws to the streets. to each of the homes to ensure that through jingles and all activities that the people are educated. We've seen a level of ignorance relying on the hegemony and male masculine principles and indoctrination, endangering the lives of other members of the society. So I think generally we are fighting against a long stayed and long practiced cultural inclinations, and it's not just a one person deal. We are involving community leaders, chiefs, chiefdoms. We're engaging pastors, churches, because I've seen personally that the churches are playing a greater role in ensuring that occasions where there are domestic violence, they use Bible to rather persuade the victims to go back to the abusers. So we are also calling them to responsibility that is the duty of the church to teach members of the public, teach their members that the laws of the state, laws of the country must be obeyed as well as the law of God, which is in the Bible. The Bible is not at all anywhere encouraging people to undermine the rights and privileges of others. So the work is ongoing, and I'm sure that with time, this will be history, because in Akwa Ibom State, I must say that the Committee for Gender-Based Violence has achieved a great deal based on the testimonies that we have seen. And then there has been a lot of prosecution of the offenders in Akwa Ibom State now. Not too long ago, I think about two suspects have been convicted for rape, which is for life imprisonment, and other sundry offenses are being charged and standing trials, while the state government is persuaded to create a special court to ensure that proactive measures are given to matters in relation to issues at hand. I am of the firm belief that much is being done, even while we're not throwing in the towel. We're not resting, we won't leave any stone unturned.
Gender and human rights advocate Anita Basa, thank you so much for speaking to us on TVC News.
Thank you so very much. My pleasure.